Hey everybody, this is GGB. 2:30, we got Marshall, which started off the season with a win, traveling to number 8 Notre Dame. Notre Dame started off the season with a loss against Ohio State. Notre Dame favored 20.5 points on NBC. Marshall had a very strong opening game. Henry Colombi, their starting quarterback, the transfer from Texas Tech, went 24-26 through for 205 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Ethan Payne had 10 carries for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Talik Keaton had 8 catches for 71 yards. Tyler Buckner against Ohio State went 10-18 through for 177 yards and had a 55.6% completion percentage. Chris Tyree on the ground had only 6 carries for 28 yards. In Lorenzo style, their leading receiver had 1 catch for 54 yards. These two teams have never played before, which is really interesting. I don't know if you guys remember who Notre Dame played week 2. They played Toledo last year. And this was a very similar setup football game. It was in Notre Dame. And it wasn't supposed to be all that close. And Toledo came in. I think Notre Dame was on their 3rd-string quarterback at one point. And Toledo almost pulled off a huge upset. They had a great chance to win that game. Made a couple mistakes down the stretch, and they almost knocked Notre Dame out of play. Gave Notre Dame a loss right off the bat. And in hindsight, that could have knocked him out of play. Last year could have knocked him out of playoff contention really early because they ended up losing that game to Cincinnati later on, and that was what ended up keeping them out of the playoffs. I think what's really interesting about this football game is this time, this would 100% knock them out of the playoff race. No team has ever made the playoffs with 2 losses. Keep that in mind, because this is what Notre Dame could end up trying to do if they lose this football game. This is a whoever wins is still in the playoff hunt, whoever loses is out situation. Obviously, if you're a group of 5 team, you can't lose any game and try and make the playoffs. That just isn't going to happen until the 12-game format. 12-team format. And obviously Notre Dame, 2-loss team, has never made the playoffs either. So this would be a pretty huge win for Marshall, obviously, to pull off the upset. I don't think it's going to happen. Notre Dame looked pretty dang good against Ohio State last week. They did. As much as Ohio State fans don't want to admit, they honestly played better football in the first half than they did than Ohio State. Obviously, Ohio State had to bounce back, and they ended up scoring 14 points and ended up winning 21-10. And Notre Dame wasn't able to do anything in the second half. But this is a Notre Dame offense that's really good. Tyler Buckner is a good quarterback. And I think Notre Dame has a good chance of being in that playoff conversation late in the year. And I think they win this game, and I think they win it by more than 20.5 points.